Greetings everyone, and this is your weekly dose of Normalynne goodness as we all learn from the stories that we hear and stories that we read. Yan, so once again, hello. I hope your week's been good and your week's been fine. Though it's a bit humid right now, but it's the last day of August. Recording date is the last day of August. And tomorrow will be Hashire Soliyo Kazenuyo Monina. Yes, the bear seasons. The bear seasons are finally coming in. And yeah. Today's review will be about this week's Let's Read, which is Ang Kalupi ni Benjamin Pascual. If you haven't read or haven't heard of the story, it's in my channel. Just click on this link here on the side. Just click on the link here, on this card here, and listen to me read Ang Kalupi ni Benjamin Pascual. And without further ado, let's just get into our reviewing. Ang Kalupi is another classic Filipino short story written by Benjamin Pascual, and it's all about Aling Marta and her tale of searching for her missing wallet. Yeah, that's the story. If you've already done watching reading Ang Kalupi or listening to the story of Ang Kalupi, you know what its ending is. And you may feel a little bit depressed, a little bit sad about the ending, a little bit angry about the ending, because that's what I felt. Maybe that's what you also felt, but that's what I felt while reading it, while recording myself. I was gisapot. I was irritated. Yeah, very irritated and annoyed at Aling Marta and how the story was going on, how the story was progressing. So talking about this really is a bummer. I really don't want to talk about this, but while creating my bullet points for this story, I slowly found it interesting, and I finally found how should I approach this story, not getting angry at Aling Marta, so I wouldn't be that biased on the story. So yes, I'm finally now excited to talk about this story. In this book, Hamaka, wow, this is not sponsored. This is my school book during high school. Hamaka, it's still alive. In this book, Hamaka, the story Ang Kalupi is under the theory of existentialism or teoryang existentialismo. It's a literative theory that studies the story by looking at the people's perspective, their feelings, their thoughts, and their actions, and the consequences that follows by it. The theory of existentialism is also a philosophical theory that is also the same with the literative theory. The theory of existentialism is a theory that focuses on how a person acts, a person feels, a person thinks. So that's it. It focuses more on the individualistic existence of a person. So yes. In short, it tells that whatever happens in life, that's because of what you did and what you will do and what you think of, things like that. So with this theory, I looked at Ang Kalupi using that theory, And eventually, I kind of like pitted pitted Aling Marta. Well, initially in the story, even while I was just practicing my initial read of the story, I got my automatic hate for Aling Marta because of what she did. But after analyzing this story, I eventually felt pity to Aling Marta. Oh, why? Why? I'll talk about that I'll get into that later. Okay, so these are the characters that are in the story that I have questioned who was at fault. Okay, so we actually have six characters in the story. Of course, first is Aling Marta. Let's focus on her first. Aling Marta is what can you call her? Magagnang. Well, let's not be biased. Oh, well. No bias. Well, Aling Marta is this person who wants to feel that they are not that poor. She wants to show to other people that they are not that poor. And she also has this tendency to look down on people, like what she did to Andres, especially if they look much poorer than her. So she also has this tendency, and yeah. But let me ask you this, especially to us Filipinos. If you're in a public market, there's a lot of people, and somebody just bumps into you. What is the next thing that you usually do? Me, if someone bumps into me, I will automatically check my bag or my pockets for my wallet, for my money, for my valuables. Okay, so we all know that someone bumps into you, that's already one of their modus operandi of the snatchers or the pickpockets. So we tend to be cautious during these things. And Aling Marta didn't do that. He was angry at bumping on the little boy, because she almost fell. And she also has this. Yeah, she also looked down on Andres, the little boy, because he looked dirty. So yeah. So when she got to the first store and checked for his wallet and it was not there, well, it's kind of like okay for her to think that the person who bumped into her was the one who, what's that word? Who pickpocketed her. Well, I can understood her thought, or her thought process that it was Andres who pickpocketed her, and she ran after Andres, and when she found her, this is when I got angry at her. She has this prejudice, and she also convinced herself that because of what this boy looked like, he is automatically the pickpocket, and he has her wallet. So that's why she was so angry, because Andres keeps on denying that he has her wallet. And eventually she kind of like persecuted the boy in front of the crowd. She was also so angry because she wanted that day to be extraordinary, because her daughter is about to graduate, and she was also afraid of the shame that it would bring to their family once she would start fighting with her husband. She didn't want that. The stress of those thoughts made her hurt Andres, And that led to Andres running, and then bang, and then okay, so that's Miss Aling Marta. Then second is Andres, the little boy. He is the victim of the story, so I see him as the innocence in the story, and he just wants freedom. He just wants to be liberated from the injustice that happened around him. But because of the prejudice and the thought of Aling Marta that he was really the one that pickpocketed him, Andres couldn't really do anything aside from denying the fact that he really pickpocketed Aling Marta. And when Aling Marta went go boom, poof, she exploded and started hurting him. Of course, if someone were to hurt you, what will you do? Of course, you would run away, right? And Andres, who was also so stressed out of what was happening, he was only a child, right? So he was so stressed, maybe he was so stressed out about everything. And when he finally got free of Aling Marta, he just wanted to get far, far away from Aling Marta. And then boom, didn't even notice the approaching car. Alright, and the third is, of course, the police. I can't tell much about the police because he was the mediator between the two, between Aling Marta and Andres. He has to check the evidences of the things that Aling Marta was saying about the boy, about the one who pickpocketed her. They went to the police outpost, and he kind of left the two outside because he needs to switch with some other police officer. And I believe that could have been done better. I mean, if he's just observed of how irritated, how annoyed Aling Marta was before he even went out to talk to the two, Aling Marta was already hurting the child. So with this thought, with this fact, he could have separated the two first. He could have separated the two first in case Aling Marta would attack the child once again. That's my thoughts. That's what I think. And we have the townspeople. I'll just call them townspeople, but the onlookers, while Aling Marta was kind of like persecuting Andres. They were just watching. What were they doing? It's another thing of the Filipinos to just watch of what's happening and not stepping out in front if there's something happening in front of us. We would be like ants to a stray food or a stray sweet. We would gather around it. The ants are even better because they would help each other out, but us, we would just stare and do nothing. And sometimes we would just laugh, and we would kind of like look at it as if it was a movie, because that's fun. Because that's fun. Yeah, I'm admitting myself, I also do that. Once they have seen Aling Marta hurting the child, they could have interfered because Aling Marta hurting the child couldn't be justified by the fact that she thinks that Andres was the one who stole her wallet. So we have that. And then we have the graduating daughter, Aling Marta's daughter, who will graduate on that day, and Aling Marta's husband. Her daughter and her husband, when Aling Marta left, they realized that her wallet was missing. Maybe they realized it already too late, or they realized it early, but Aling Marta was kind of like away for 4 hours. So if they have found out that Aling Marta didn't bring her wallet earlier, like an hour ago or 2 hours ago, They could have just followed her and give her her wallet. Because she couldn't buy anything if she has no wallet, right? Diba? So, but that's just a speculation. And then the fourth one is the husband. The husband was the one who pulled the wallet out of Aling Marta's dress. And he was also the one who forgot to put the wallet back in. Alright. Okay. So, he was the root cause. Okay, I'm getting biased here. But, yes, he was kind of like the root cause of it all. So with these 6 characters, who do you think is at fault for it all, for the story to end that way? Okay. The story mostly focuses on the perspective of Aling Marta. That is why I was so immersed on the feeling of anger towards Aling Marta. Because the only thoughts that I've read and the only actions that I've read is on Aling Marta's side. That's it. But there are still lots of characters in the story that if you don't give mind to them, then you as a reader will automatically focus on Aling Marta, because you've been seeing her perspective all along, not even minding the other things. Well, I arrived on this kind of thought of pitying Aling Marta because I asked myself who was at fault in this story, and using the theory of existentialism, I couldn't pinpoint who was at fault at this story. I just found it as a series of unfortunate events. Trademark. I just found it as a series of unfortunate events that led to the ending of the story. After analyzing this story, I couldn't find a single lesson that we can apply to our lives. But I only found the truth that was hidden in the story. For me, when I started reading Uncle Lupe, I felt all irritated and annoyed because of how the story progressed. But in the end, after all of my analyzing, I found out that the truth that was hidden there, the truth that I deeply reflected myself on, was the fact that there are times that we might not know that we are doing injustice to other people. We might not know that because of our actions, we are doing something wrong to other people. Just like what Aling Marta did to Andres. She accused her of stealing because of the prejudices that she thought of the fact that she convinced herself of a thing which she doesn't have evidence of because of this prejudice, which eventually led to Andres' demise. Because there are times that we can't control what we do, we can't control what we think. Sometimes we just go boom, just like what happened to Aling Marta. She just exploded because of the things that were happening and the things that she were thinking, the plans that weren't going well. So she eventually got and which led to her hurting Andres, and which led to the ending of the story. Sometimes we are like that. I mean, sometimes we get too narrow-sighted when we get overwhelmed about the things that are happening. And that narrow-sightedness will sometimes lead to us doing things that are counterproductive to the things that we want to do, or the things it will also lead us doing things that can cause injustice to other people. Diba? If you think about it, if you just internalize this story and think for yourself, have you done some injustice to other people because of the impulsiveness that you did? Because you were overwhelmed of the things that are happening to you at the same time? So I'll leave it at that for you to think about. So that's it for our fiction worm reviews. And before we end this video, I have a question for you. What do you think will you do if you were in Aling Marta's place? Comment your answers down below. And if I like your answer, then I would do some shoutouts, and I would also put you in my story that I'm writing right now. Charot! So if this video made you think, click like and also share it to your friends so they would also use some of their brain cells that is now on quarantine, so they could also use it so it will not go poof. So share it to your friends. Subscribe for more videos like this, and also click the notification bell button to be updated for more uploads in the futures. And once again, salamat kaayo sa pagtanaw sa akong channel ug magkita-kita na pud ta sa sunod semana. Bye-bye! Amping!